So I was talking to Michael Rabel, and he said, hey, there's some rules changes coming for the WLL. And I said, well, tell me about those. He said, I've got someone better to tell you about those. You guys might have seen last night that everybody was saying Sean Light became the first defender to ever win the Tewaaraton. Not actually true, because our next guest was a defender who won the Tewaaraton a couple of years ago.
Just a few.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that. At Princeton, she is the Senior Vice President of Lacrosse, the PLL and WLL. She's Rachael DeCecco, and she's with us here now on GCR. Rachael, it's great to see you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. I got a little gift for you here.
Oh,
I
love that. Now, wait a second. Hang on.
Yeah, I can
There
change
we
that.
go.
No, because we can be twinsies.
All right,
I actually like this a lot. Rachel, I asked the question of Michael because I told him a joke, right? I don't know if you know my friend MC McFadden, been a longtime coach, of course, her daughter, Caitlin, right?
Yep.
Big lacrosse family. And when I first started calling women's lacrosse, I said, the first game I ever did with MC as my analyst, I said, MC, I'm going to need your help because when I do women's games, I don't always know what the calls are. And she joked back with me. She's like, okay, that's all right. And a lot of us don't either.
None of us do, really.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm so
you're
glad.
good.
It makes me feel so much better. It makes me feel so much better. So tell me about, because Michael was telling me about how in the WLL, the idea is going to be to maybe line it up a little bit more and make the game more palatable for newcomers, for people that are coming in. Can you tell me functionally what that's going to look like?
Exactly right. We want to simplify it. We want to highlight the talent and skill of our players, which looks like 6v6, so in the offensive and defensive end. So it's no longer 7v7, which was crowded. Whistles. We have too many stoppages that are not clear, in the women's game. So we've simplified sort of the defensive, the shooting space, 3 seconds, walling. Essentially, you need to be marked up in a player within the critical scoring area, which is that 15-yard arc. There is no 2-point line. That is one difference. And there is no 8 meters. So it's just similar. It is woman up, woman down. So it's a quick restart.
That is a notable difference.
That
is a very notable
So
difference.
we want to let them play more safely, but let them play and highlight the skill that they have. The draw. So after the draw, you got 30 seconds to get back and be ready.
Wow.
We don't want to take a lot of time. And with the draw violation, this is similar to the men's game. If, we're not going to allow that set up, then reset again. So if you violate, you're off and you can't take the next one.
Okay, that is very similar to the men's game then. So the thought process behind this, because I'll add in that I know there's been a lot of talk about with sixes in the Olympics, it's kind of uniform, right?
Yes.
Like the idea between men's and women's. Is the concept that we want to set the tone for this is what women's lacrosse might look like maybe moving forward?
We have a great opportunity to showcase the best and try new things, right? And make maybe that does become the standard. And I do think bringing the games together, I don't want to turn the women's game into the men's game because I think there's beauty and finesse and skill that we get to see on the women's side. There's a little different on the men's side. But yeah, make them more uniform. So if anyone turns on the TV, they immediately recognize this as lacrosse and they're not head scratching.
I don't understand.
What's going on?
Yeah.
The reviews has been a hot topic in the women's game this season. So we have limited reviews similar to the PLL via challenges, and you have 90 seconds. And if you can't tell what happened, we got to restart the game and move on.
Wow.
So we want to keep the game moving, fit it in that 2-hour window for viewers, and just allow the women to play.
What is the response? Look, I know the players are just excited. There's, they have a league. I know there's some amount of that, but what has the response been from players about the rules changes? And obviously this is a sport they played for a very long time. What's been the response?
I think everybody has really been itching for change. Certainly I played a few years ago and we had,
1 or 2.
No boundaries. It was a long time ago. So I think as the skill of our athletes has evolved, as the stick technology has evolved, we haven't really evolved the rules to go along with it, which has led to a really difficult job for our officials to maintain control of a game and understand what's happening. So the players are excited. We engage with them when we built rules. We talk to them. What do you guys want? What's the most important thing to you when you're out on the field? How do we keep you safe? So they were very much part of the process, as well as some of our coaches and just some leaders in the game. So I think coming together and really thinking about what is best for the game now, but also the future, really was kind of our North Star.
That's great. That's tremendous. Rachael DeCecco is with us, Senior Vice President of Lacrosse, the PLL and WLL. Rachael, I'm going to ask generically, right?
Yep.
As you guys, this is the first full season of the WLL. What is it that fans should expect? What is the goal for what you want the WLL to be in 5 years, in 10 years, whatever that marker is.
Yeah, I think when people watch our game, whether it's in person or on TV, they say, oh my gosh, these women are so incredibly strong and athletic and skilled. And we are able to highlight that and show off what they're able to do.
Can I talk about this for a second? You mentioned the passing. And I was it the quarterfinal day of the tournament that we were hanging out in studio together and we were watching the games? And the number of times I would say to Griffin, like, what is she doing? Why is she making that pass? And yet they all seemed, I'm like, this game is so much different. Like, these are passes that to me would be insane 3 years ago, 5 years ago for sure, and yet they're being made with ease at this point.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, the end of the Stony Brook Johns Hopkins game, the buzzer beater,
Jesus.
talk about passing. One more at the end, I screamed. I was in studio and I screamed.
Nuts.
It was, and that is the beauty and speed that the game can have if we just let them play.
It is wild. I mean, it is wild how things have changed. Rachel, obviously this is an exciting weekend for a lot of people, and it's exciting to have the WL launch. The role that the PLL is playing with the WLL and the idea of maybe bringing everyone together. And we've talked about this with like, hey, you can't help but notice the years the Final Four have been in the same location. There's maybe been a larger crowd that we have seen in those spots. How good do you feel like this is for lacrosse at this moment to kind of be unifying everyone in the same place?
That's the exact word I was going to use, unified. So, yeah, you can come and see your favorite female players. You can come see the men play. You got a son, you got a daughter, you can watch both of it. And I think unifying the games and creating opportunity to be seen. And then, like, when I was growing up, there was no pro lacrosse. It was college, U.S., if you were very, very lucky. And now these girls are coming and they think about in 10, 15 years, I'm going to be out on this field. And that's what we want. More teams, more games, and just really let them play and give them something to aspire to.
I don't want to give any one player, like I know in basketball, everybody's essentially like making Caitlin Clark the North Star, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, no pun intended when I say North Star, but the impact that Charlotte has had on the sport. And she's not the first great player we've ever seen, but she certainly shot the ball different than basically anyone that we had ever seen at that point. Can you define that and what you've seen and the impact that she's had on the sport entirely?
Yeah, it's hard to put into words what she's done for our sport, and that's it. She did something that hadn't been done before. She played differently, and we saw it in the early 2000s with Northwestern, right? They changed the style of play, and then everyone adapted to it, and Charlotte has done that. She has sort of set really the groundwork for what it could be to be a full-time professional female lacrosse player. And when you're with Charlotte, you can't help but be happy and just watch her love of the game. And we were just together at the Final Four weekend, and the young girls, and they're just in awe of her. And she's created that aspirational opportunity for people, and I think she is really the first to do that within the pro game, and it's just really special to watch.
I also wonder now that there's no free positions, like that's kind of part of the price of admission though with Charlotte.
It is. So we talked about the stick celly is kind of a cool part of the game. Now they can still do it with 30 seconds, but yeah, I mean the 8-meter. I think it was really, I think, tough in college this year. Teams are living and dying by the 8-meter, and that just can't be what decides the outcome of a game. So, this year it is the flags, woman up, woman down. So we're going to see some real creativity with 6-on-5, 6-on-4, and there'll be new things that we see that, Char ripping it from the 10, with a woman up opportunity. So, yeah, that part is interesting. You think about a Maddie Taylor, Charlotte North, Izzy Skane not having that, but I think they're going to come up with new ways to entertain us.
By the way, I feel like it's just what everybody's doing. I feel like everything is a step down now from 8 meters.
I mean, it's the stick. I know because they can. I mean, they're so strong. The sticks.
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. All right, what else should we know about? What else is going on in your world? What else are you excited about this summer?
Yeah, I mean, just getting on the road and watching the women play. I mean, we've got the Maryland Charm here this weekend. Sydney Black homecoming. We've got Bridget Duffy on a professional field for the first time, which I cannot wait to see her in this short midfield. We didn't talk about that, but just as a PLL, we've taken space out of the midfield, so transition is going to be so quick. So seeing some of those middies just light it up in transition, the rides, it's going to be incredible. So getting these college kids on the field that just finished amazing careers, I can't wait for that this summer.
I love everything about that. Rachael DeCecco, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you, because I have genuinely learned something today, and I'm now even more excited about tonight.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming and hanging out with us.
Sure
Rachael DeCecco, Senior Vice President of Lacrosse for the PLL and WLL.